Hello, my friends. I'm here. You're here. We're all here. Blur is here. Ryry's here. Honeyshuckle's here. Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Hope everything's working okay. I, as you can kind of see in the background, changed my background. I changed to the cityscape. I was feeling a change yesterday, and the cityscape was what was doing it for me instead of the forest. So we may or may not keep that. What's interesting is, and I didn't notice this before, the lighting is very different in when you have the cityscape. Like the morning lighting is very different compared to the morning in the forest. So it's really interesting to sort of move it throughout the day. I had the nightscape on last night, of course, because I really like the night. But the morning one is a lot more nuanced, a lot sort of greener and warmer than the lighting in the morning in the forest. So that's interesting. Honeyshuckle, what's up? Autumn Creates, hello. I really like Spirit City. I can highly recommend it. It's become my go-to productivity tool even when I'm not streaming. I like that it has the music, the sound, the timer, the visualizations, all of that just built into one. You just turn it on, set it up, and go. I do single timers, so you can set up the timer for like several rotations. I just use a single timer when I'm offline because I don't really have a set break time. But it's super chill and super nice, and I like being able to fiddle with settings. Very tired, Blur. Why are you tired? Did you not sleep well last night? That's not what we want to hear. But if that is what happened, I hope you take care of yourself and get a good night's rest tonight. Got an art commission, so I might be working on that while watching today. Heck yeah, Honeyshuckle. I'm so excited. Good luck. There are so many artists in our community that I want to commission, but I can't commission them all at once. Unfortunately. We have some truly awesome artists in our community, and I do believe Honeyshuckle's commission details were posted in the Discord for anyone who's curious. Because I remember when you posted them. I'm here. It's Wednesday. I almost said Tuesday, but it's not Tuesday because yesterday was Tuesday, and I know because I emergency guest starred on Winds of Chaos last night. Ghost popped in, like literally as they were starting camera setup, and was like, "Hey, Collie's sick, and are you free?" And I was like, "Not kinda really, but let's see if we can make it work." And we did. We were, I think, a little bit late starting because I had to finish up something before I could actually join in. But I was like sitting here muted doing the last of my my writing for the day while they were doing camera setup. Oh, it's a pack of Discord emotes. Oh heck yeah! My client tipped me 30% and I'm absolutely floored. That's awesome, Honeyshuckle. That's so cool. I imagine emotes are really challenging because you have to make something that looks good, like small. And I imagine making something look good small is actually even harder than making something look good big. Trying to catch up on sleep since the past 3 days. I haven't gotten much. I'm assuming maybe the time change has hit you pretty hard, Blur. Because I've definitely been, I just posted on my Blue Sky this morning, like I've definitely been getting my butt kicked by the time change because my body doesn't like automatically adjust to the fact that we're doing everything an hour earlier. Like, because the time change is a completely, like, it's a cultural thing. It's a society thing. It's not a natural biological thing. So I go lay in bed at, 1 o'clock in the morning, but to my brain is like, it's midnight. You've got another hour of activity. And I'm like, no, I don't. I have to get up at 8 o'clock and shower so that I can stream. So we've only got 7 hours left to make this sleep thing happen. And my body's like, no, no, no. It's an hour before we need to sleep yet. So that happens for a couple nights until my body's finally like, yeah, okay, whatever. I guess it's the time you say it is. Especially because emotes need to be seen at different sizes. Yes, that too. Like, I don't know how any of the emote artists do it, but I've seen some truly impressive emotes. Oh, I have some truly impressive emotes made by the wonderful Mumbles as well, so... but good luck, Honeysuckle. That sounds awesome. Last night was finally a good night's sleep. Thank goodness. Even if you did pixel art, it'd have to look good big too. Yeah. Yeah, but I've seen some really big pixel art that looks good. Like, I know that sometimes when you make something big, it doesn't scale down as well as you think it will. I've learned this with covers. That if you want something to look good at a smaller size, you have to test that it looks good at that size, because sometimes the details that you want to show through on the small version will get lost if you only look at the big version. It seems so backwards to me, because I always assumed that if you make something look good big, it will automatically look better when you shrink it down, but that's not necessarily how it works. Something I didn't learn until I started working with covers. So there's like a whole different process involved in, and I'm thinking about remaking my Everyone's Child covers, because they didn't quite come out as good as I wanted them to. And one of the things that I definitely want to look at is I don't feel like the text is as visible on the small versions of the covers as I want it to be. So I'm going to have to look at that, because it's readable on the larger covers, but not on the small ones. I asked Flareon on how she does her emotes since I wanted to make my own for my server, and she gave me some really good tips. Heck yeah! I know Flareon makes emotes. I know Mumbles makes emotes. And I believe Jelly Just Beans as well has made a lot of emotes for the community as well. If you're looking for anyone to ask, I know Flareon is really awesome about answering questions. Because she's been helping me out with Photoshop. I'm kind of a Photoshop baby. So I've sent her a couple of frantic questions where I'm like, how do I do this in Photoshop? And she's like, here. And I'm like, thank you, you just saved my life. She was like, by the way, if you hold down this button, you can draw a straight line. And I was like, you have saved me so much time. Easy cheesy? Oh, I like that. I have never tried to make my own emotes. I feel like I've had ideas for emotes and then talked to artists, and they've talked me down from a couple of things because it's like impossible to do. But I've never, even just like me being, I'm just like, I don't know, I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know where to start. So it's funny because I follow a lot of art streamers, and I often have to remind myself, because I watch them do art. Like, I watch the ease and speed at which Flareon does her art on stream, like the way that she puts together lines and gets through colors and all that. And I watch her do that, and I think, wow, that looks like it should be so easy. And I have to remind myself, like, I rein myself in. I'm like, she has spent years learning that skill and learning how to do that and figuring out the process by which to make that look simple and smooth. Which is why if I tried to do it, it would not be the same. But I just love watching artists at work. Like 2-word max for emotes usually. Most go 1 word actually. Yes. Well, and I imagine mine don't have any words in them. I imagine putting words in it is even harder because, again, you have to be able to read it. I asked on how she shades hair while she was doing a commission. I felt bad interrupting her, but she was happy to answer. Oh, yeah. Flaring on is super helpful. And Mumbles too, because I've worked with Mumbles. Just we have some truly amazing artists in this community. So yeah, it's definitely. I used to when I was younger. Airy Night 2, hello. I used to, when I was younger, doodle about the same amount as I wrote. Like, I would sort of split my time evenly between writing and art. And I sort of hit a point where I kind of realized that if I wanted to be really good at something, I had to put all of my effort and energy into that thing in order to get good at it. Because that's kind of how developing a skill works, right? The more time and energy you put into something, the better you get at it. And it was like, I can either be kind of good at both writing and art forever, or I can pick one to get really good at. And you can guess which one I picked, because this is a writing stream and not an art stream. And so I kind of stopped doodling and trying to improve my art, because I put that time and energy into writing instead. And I don't necessarily regret that. Writing is my first and biggest passion, and always has been. And telling stories is ultimately what I really want to do, and what I feel weird when I don't do. So I don't necessarily regret the choice. But I've never really found the time to develop a second skill to that extent. Like, I do so much writing work now and so much writing adjacent work that finding the time to develop my art skills the way I developed my writing skills, it just doesn't quite work the same when you're maintaining one thing and then trying to add another thing on top of it. Because I don't stop writing, so I don't have that full energy to devote to the artistic process, if that makes sense. So I don't draw as much as I used to, and some days that does make me sad. I do wish that I could express some of the visual ideas in my head as visual representations rather than word representations sometimes, but I don't necessarily regret going the writing path. So it's interesting to me to watch other artists work and to see how they've developed their process, because I also follow another artist, Oak Tea Party, who I think I've talked about a couple times on my stream too. Unfortunately, she streams a little more afternoon than I do, so we never get to raid into her, because I'm usually done by the time she gets started. But she's a traditional artist. She works with ink and watercolor, and it's so fascinating for me to watch her do her painting, because I don't know anything about watercolor. I don't know the first thing about painting with watercolor, so it's really interesting to me to see how she mixes her paints and how she uses water with the watercolors to create certain effects, and how like what she lets dry before she does certain things versus what she works with wet. It's really interesting to me, because I don't know any of that stuff. Been drawing since I was a toddler, but I really picked it up in 5th grade, and I've been drawing nonstop ever since. Heck yeah. I definitely had a point probably around the start of high school where I was kind of like, I can either get really good at art or I can get really good at writing. And it was just writing was the stronger call. Peter's here! Speaking of certain effects, Peter is here, and he's both dry and wet. In your neck of the woods, Peter, I don't question that at all. Pie's here as well. Pie, we love you. Peter, how you doing? How you feeling? What is up? How's it going? I'm over here waxing eloquent about artistic process, but how is everybody doing? Meanwhile, I'm like, I want to do everything. Hey, I'm not saying you can't do everything either. Like, if you want to devote a little bit of time and energy to everything, and you have that, like, you have that ability and you have that focus, go for it. I definitely am one of those people. I don't want to say that I get, like, hyper focused, because I know that that's a specifically like ADHD thing, and I know that I don't have ADHD, but I am the kind of person who does get really, really absorbed in a task. So I have learned that I do work best if I take a big block of time and get really absorbed in a task, and then take another block of time and get really absorbed in the next task. So for me, it's easier to do things that are all similar. Like, it's easier for me to do a bunch of writing tasks because the brain process is all the same for me. But if you're someone who can switch easily between things and it keeps you happy and it gets you through, go for it. Do whatever makes your brain happy. Peter wanted first, but only got this lousy redeem. Never really did art because my sister and dad were the artists in the family, and in high school I was told he'll never be as good as his sister. Oh, Peter, I'm so sorry that you were told that. That's shitty. So I just didn't bother for years. I've been sketching and doing art for the last few years, though, and I'm enjoying it. I'm glad you've gotten back into it. This is why I always say, like, you don't want to compare yourself to other people, because you're not trying to do their art. You're trying to do your art. You're trying to do your thing, right? Compare yourself to you. Compare your improvement to your improvement, right? I'm doing pretty good. I was an emergency guest star on Winds of Chaos last night, as was mentioned, because I guess Kali got sick very close to the start. And they needed another person, so they didn't die to the undead trolls. So we had an emergency ephema appearance last night, and I will be coming back again next week, because next week I'm actually taking off. I won't be writing next week. So we won't be having the regular stream lineup next week, but we will be having a stream lineup of some kind. I'm hoping to source some wine so we can do the wine and wind down next week. But we will see how that goes. But I'm doing pretty good. We're gonna dig into some Aruvalia Chronicles edits today. We are editing book 14 now, the penultimate book, the next to last book, and there's some exciting things happening in there. Got some little tweaks to make today. I do a little bit of writing since I like to create my own stories with my own characters. I just do it more in a visual style. Yeah. And I do draw from time to time. I really want to get back into drawing regularly. It's just I always run out of energy and time. Rai, you needed rest. It sounded like you were having a rough day yesterday. I wish I could say I'm the writer, but that's my sister as well, and she's an excellent musician. My sister's the kind of person who can pick up an instrument and within 20 minutes play it. Listen, just because your sister has her range of skills doesn't mean that you don't have a range of skills as well. There doesn't have to be just one writer in the family. There doesn't have to be just one musician in the family. You can do your thing and be good at it and not have to compete with her. And if your family makes you feel like you have to compete with her, fuck that. Because you don't. And you shouldn't have to feel like that. I do compare myself to other artists, but more like, what can I add from them to make my art look better? Yeah, what can I learn from this other person and how they do things and what their process is? For sure. For many years, I always made the joke that firstborn got all the skills and I got whatever was left in the DNA tank. Peter, I'm so sorry. I don't know if it'll make you feel any better, but I was the firstborn. I was the firstborn child in general in my extended family, too. I was the first in my household. I was the oldest cousin. I was I was always the front of the line, and I was not considered the talented one. My younger brother, my middle brother, was the talented one. He was the one that got straight A's and all that kind of stuff. I had to work at stuff a lot. It's kind of interesting because I've read a lot of studies on this in retrospect, but I was really good at school and stuff until probably midway through middle school, and then I had to start working at it. Like it got hard, it got difficult. And there's a point in every child's life where that happens, where things that came naturally to you start to be more difficult. But because of the way we give feedback in society, because boys tend to be more rambunctious and a little bit harder to focus when they're younger versus girls, because of the way we give feedback in our society, girls tend to internalize this idea that they're just naturally talented and that if something is hard for them, they should just stop working at it because they're not going to be good at it. And I definitely struggled with that in middle school because my brother was still at that age where everything came easily to him and he really easily got straight A's and he was very studious and a very good student, and I was struggling to work hard. And in retrospect, I can look back at that, knowing what I know now about how society works, and say that was society unfairly putting pressure on me to be naturally good at everything, which isn't how skill works. But it was rough. It was hard. So if you have a sibling that seems naturally more talented than you, keep in mind that one, they probably do work at it. And two, you don't have to compete with them. You can be you and you can be good at what you do and who you are and whatever, and not have to be constantly compared to them because they're not you, and they accomplish what they accomplish and you accomplish what you accomplish, and your family really shouldn't make you feel like there's a ranking system, frankly. I think I've become a really good writer. Like, if I wasn't me, I'd really enjoy what I've written, and I don't really like me much, but I've written some really good stuff. Well, I like you, Peter, and I'm sure you are a good writer, and I'm sure you've written some amazing things. Who's the one who's writing books with the fam and the clurb? That's you. That's true. I am writing books with the fam and the clurb 3 days a week, right here on Switch. It took a long time to really develop into what I wanted to do and to get to a place of being able to enjoy it and like my own work. And I think a lot of us go through that process, Peter. I think it's an ongoing process too. I think if you're creating, you're always going to be experiencing that process because you're always going to be getting just a little bit better at what you do every time you do it. And that's going to allow you to see the flaws in what you've already done. And so there's this constant struggle with your brain to accept that you see flaws in what you've done because you're getting better at it. And that's why you constantly feel like you're not quite where you want to be. So you have to accept a little bit of imperfection in your work, I think, and it makes it easier to be happy with what you've done. My family is a mix of artists. We have me, a digital traditional, more on the digital side artist. My mom is a photographer, and my dad is a painter. Heck yeah! You know, when you get into a back and forth with jokes and one-upping each other, my dad always said that was his favorite thing, just listening to me and my sister be funny. Yeah, but were you actually joking? Or was it like... Or were you trying to get them to... Were you actually joking, or were you trying to get them to be proud of you? That's... I'm an overthinker, so I don't know if my novels are good. Hey, Autumn, I'm sure your novels are good. I think we all do that. And again, it's because you're, I think it was Oak Tea that explained this in the best way. Your creative eye gets ahead of your hands, essentially. You learn to spot what you want to do differently. Like, you learn to spot a new skill before you actually master how to perform that skill. So if you're going through your work and you're thinking, oh, why didn't I do it this way? This way would have been so much better. that's not a sign that you did a bad job. That's a sign that you're learning to do a better job. And I think we have to internalize it that way. We have to sort of learn to internalize it as I'm improving and I'm getting better at this thing. Because otherwise we're constantly beating ourselves for not being good enough or not doing a good enough job. And that's not fair to us either, because every time we do something, we get a little better at it. I got the tickets for my husband, and I must tickets him back. I remember the very first script I ever completed, and at the time I was like, call the cast, get the cameras, build the set, every word of this is ready to go, but now the only reason I keep it is so it can be in the Peter Greenwood Museum and Memorial Ravioli Stand. I mean, my first stuff was garbage too, Peter, and you want that for the Megan Cutler Museum and Barbecue thinger. I'm so embarrassed by those early scripts, but I love the characters and the story, so I've kept at it and kept developing it, and now I properly love the work I do. Heck yeah! I mean, that's why I do what I do, too. You know, I don't know who needs to hear this today, but I spent a lot of my early life hearing, you can't do that because you're not good at spelling, or you can't do that because it doesn't make money, or... you know, all these things of like, it's okay if you want to write and stuff, but make sure you have other skills, make sure you do other things, because writing isn't going to be what puts food on the table, which isn't not true. Writing isn't necessarily what puts food on my table, but with a thrifty husband and a supportive husband, I have found ways to do what I love and still have food on the table, which I appreciate. So if you're hearing that in your life, or have heard that in your life in the past, you can't prioritize this because this reason, or it's foolish to assume that you're going to be successful at that other thing. Be realistic. I mean, you're not going to be an overnight sensation. That doesn't really happen to most people, but if you focus, if you keep your goals in mind, and if you keep developing your skill, I genuinely believe that, you know, we can all be successful as creatives. And screw society. Screw what society thinks. You can do it. And if that's what you need to hear today, now you've heard it. It's Video Productivity Day. Heck yeah, Rai. I'm so excited. You remember the Museum and Barbecue joint. Of course I do, Peter. There are things that I specifically have to set aside for you to put in the Memorial Museum and Barbecue. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I do remember that you intend to build it. I assume it will be across from the ravioli stand. That reminds me of my sister. She's an artist as well. She does a mix of things. She says that my artwork isn't real artwork, which makes me so mad. That's very rude of her. Plus, she says she can do what I can do on paper, but I haven't seen her try to do what I do. Also, she says I should try to do more traditional art since that's real art. It's just digital is more comfortable for me. It doesn't help that she's really competitive. I just brush her comments off and continue to do my own thing. Well, good for you, Blur. Kilbatross, hello. Agreed, let's burn society to the ground. You get the pitchforks, I'll get the torches. Keel, how's it going? It's really shitty that she says those things to you. Blur, digital art is just as valid as traditional art. Just because it's a different medium doesn't make it any less real. It's the same kind of skill that you develop to do it. But good for you for not letting her get under your skin, and for just doing your thing, and for embracing it, and being happy with what you do. Wednesday is prime rib day at the Megan Cutler Memorial of Barbecue Joint, my dudes. Heck yeah. Yeah, I mean, traditional art takes a lot of skill, but so does digital art. I've tried both. I'm mediocre at both. I'd like to think the ravioli stand and the barbecue joint can combine forces, and your barbecue joint can provide meats for the inside of the ravioli. Absolutely, Peter. That would be amazing. Honestly, if she's super competitive, she's probably trying to fulfill her need to feel competitive. But you don't have to be competitive with her. I am a very not competitive person myself, and I don't like to compete with people. So when people try to compete with me, I actively make it clear that I have no interest in the competition. So let's see. What if we fiddle with the lighting? So that's just kind of cloudy. That's not bad. I like the warmth coming off of there. I really like I bought this one because I like the night. I really like the lightning in this view, because you get the really cool forked lightning. Let's do reading, because I want to hang out with our cat, and our cat will read with us. Which cat? Do we want Tuxedo Cat? We have Tuxedo Cat. We have Witch Hat Cat. We have Galaxy Cat. We have other Galaxy Cat. Which cat do we want, you guys? The audacity of looking at any creative effort and saying it isn't a valid expression is insane. Thank you. That is very articulately put, Keel. Anything that someone has put time and energy and effort in to make from nothing is worthwhile. I gotta wait for you guys to catch up and see if anybody has any input on what cat they want. But we might do Witch Cat, because we haven't done Witch Cat in a while. I just love that he has 3 eyes. Although it bothers me that this eye blinks up and down instead of blinking sideways like it should. Look, that big fork lightning. Oh, so good. So good. All right. If people want me to change the cat, we'll change the cat. All right. Let's set up 30 minutes. Let's set up 15-minute breaks, and we're gonna have 3 sprints today. Tuxedo Cat, you got it. Do you want the gray Tuxedo Cat or the black Tuxedo Cat? What if the third eye was a beehole and that's where the aliens live in the cat's forehead? It's not, but it's a nice thought, Peter. So do you want black Tuxedo Cat or gray Tuxedo Cat? There's also the gingerbread cat as well, which is a little bit kind of a tuxedo cat as well. I'm gonna put it as black, but let me know which one you want, Peter. And we'll flippy flop it if we need to. I feel like part of my competitiveness is my age. Like, I'm very aware I'm not getting any younger, so I feel massive pressure on myself to compete and push myself. Again, you don't have to compete against other people. Black one. Perfect! We got it. Black Tuxedo Kitty. Got a nice nighttime city scene, nice cool lighting. I've got a forever hot drink sitting next to me that I can't actually drink, but it's nice to have it. And I've got a cauldron. So I'm going to do the usual and take a cheeky, quick little break. Pop AFK to use the restroom and get set up for deep focus here. There won't be as many clicky clacks as yesterday because I will be editing, but I do have some tweaks to make to this chapter, so we'll see how that goes. I took some amazing photos of Alice's beanies weenies this morning. Aww! How is Alice doing, by the way? I know she was not feeling her usual sassy self for a little while. Alright, I'm going to pop AFK, and then we're going to get settled in for the whole reason. I assume the real reason you guys are here is for the productivity. Maybe that's not why you're here. Maybe you're here for the shit we talk about in between. But we're going to do the thing that I promised we're going to do, which is the productivity. So I will be right back. We will get settled in and get started. I'm back. She's much better, but she's also a big shite. Look, we know that Alice is big sass. She got that big sass in her. We appreciate that. But if she's back to her usual self, that's the most important thing. I've shown her a lot of my artwork, but she just brushes it off. She says, your niece would appreciate that more than me, which, ouch, but hey, at least I can bond with my niece. Hey, listen. First of all, we are here for these kinds of conversations. It's exactly the kind of conversation we're here for. And second of all, I'm really sorry that you have to deal with somebody putting down your art and saying that it's not a real medium. Like, there are tons of traditional artists out there, yes, but there are tons of digital artists out there too. Digital art is a huge medium right now, and a lot of traditional artists have moved into the digital medium because they find it easier to produce that kind of content in today's, structure of society and culture and whatnot. So 100% everything that you do is valid, Blur. Your skills are valid, your work is valid and beautiful. I've seen it. And I watched your video where you were talking about how you put the animation together that you did, and I was watching you make the art in the background, and I couldn't do any of the stuff you were doing. So never worry that you have skill, because you do. But hey, if she can't appreciate that, it's gonna be her that suffers in the end, right? Because she's gonna damage her relationship with you. And that's a consequence of her being shitty. Club equals spam divided by Craig in the bathroom. Peter, we adore you. It's an important thing to get validation. Just sucks that your sister can't give any. 100% agree. We butt heads on art a lot, but we do still love each other. Well, that's good. But I hope that someday she can come to terms with the fact that her weird idea that traditional art is superior is weird. Let's get some productivity in here. Let's get some productivity up in the club. Alright, we've got 30-minute, 15 minutes breaks. 3 of those. Heck yeah. Now, I've already made a note for myself that I need to break up the opening of this scene because I info dumped a bit. So, this is going to be tons of fun. And the time it usually takes me to edit a page, I've edited 4 paragraphs. Oof. They may call it Wednesday, but it's just a different Monday. I feel that in my soul. Flanny's here. Honorable member from Flantropolis has arrived. We welcome and acknowledge the honorable member from Flantropolis and would like to know how he's doing this fine morning. Also, if you stick around to the break, Flanny, I'll flash your cross stitch and show you how much progress I've made. I haven't done much since I sent you the last picture, but there's a little bit. A new hairbrush for you or for Remy? For you? Heck yeah! I hope it is a fabulous hairbrush. Alright, I'm past the rough patch. I'm past the rough patch. Don't know how to regulate your body temperature or how to have a high ponytail. I don't know how to regulate my body temperature either. I'm right there with you. Oh, that we can show you. I mean, I pretty much have a high ponytail right now. Can't see it very well, but all you need is a scrunchie and a hairbrush. Hey, Delazar. I'm doing good. How are you? The Writer's Troop. Hello, hello. How's it going, my friends? Haven't raided in a while, so I thought it was time. Writer's Troop, see you in a few minutes. Currently, I'm running a campaign based on my players being gods. Ooh, hell yeah. It's insane, and I started with all the players in different places on the continent, so it begins with 5 solo sessions. Oh, nice. Delazar, that sounds awesome. This is still one of my favorite lines. I, for one, am not keen to watch Dameron relocate his shoulder a second time. Taryn, is this your first emote? Is this the first Taryn emote? It's beautiful. I love it. I'm going to pause the timer because I'm not ready for the break to start. So I promise I'm going to catch up on chat, but I need to do just a little bit more before we get there. we'll pause there for the breaky break. Didn't quite get as far as I wanted, but the opening to that scene was a bit rough. I didn't have to chop it up as much as I thought I would have to, but there was some rough getting through it. Oh, there's another one! Oh, Taryn, these are gorgeous! Oh, I love that heart. I'm so glad to see you getting your own emotes. I still need to animate mine. I need to make a browse dino. Heck yeah! I still need to get proper animated emotes. All of my animated emotes are just quick animations. I have so many things on my backlog list. Flanny, do you want me to show you how I put my hair up? I will do a special takedown of my hair and show you how I put it up. If you would like me to show you how to make a ponytail. Janine, hello! How's it going? I will happily do that. I'll have to pause afterwards and go actually fix my hair, probably in a mirror, but... mind if I ask what the blue person on screen is called? That's just my, that's just me. That's just my little, avatar in the game. Just my little cat girl, me. She doesn't really have a name. Whenever I do myself as, like, a fursona, I usually choose a cat. So, she just me. Cheers, Blur. And save! Save that work, my friends. We'll also do a stretch. I don't know if it counts as being a VTuber, because it's just in the game, but if I had a VTube, it would probably be that. It is Lo-Fi Sessions Spirit City. I will type it out in the chat. It's on Steam. You can find it on Steam. It's more of a productivity tool than a game. It comes with the music, the sounds, the timer. You can completely... let me do the full view. You can completely customize your room. So this is my room. I've decorated it to look like this. We also have a room that we made for Domarin. This is... If Domarin had a version... of this would be his room, and then I've not done anything with the third slot, so this is what the room looks like by default, and this is what I have kind of turned it into. So yeah, it's super cool, chill, and fun. Taryn, how's it going? I'm glad to see you made it to affiliate and you can get your emotes set up and everything. I hope you're doing well. Writing for it has been a doozy since one of my players made a power as a knowledge domain to be able to ask questions and just get the info. So writing a plot around it is a new challenge. Ooh, that does sound challenging. But also it's super cool that you basically let your players be gods. Flanny, growing your hair out to donate it. Heck yeah, that's awesome. It's hard to get your hair that long, but it's definitely worth it. Keel, are you in the long hair gang too? Heck yeah. I probably will... Mine's getting pretty long. I'll probably chop it at the beginning of summer because it gets really hot here. And if I let my hair grow too long, it stops curling, which is the main draw of my hair, being that it's naturally curly. So I'll probably get it chopped back to around this length in probably beginning of June, end of May, beginning of June. Because of my thyroid issues, my body temperature is always at max. I definitely have noticed that since I did my thyroid treatment, I get cold a lot more easily than before, and I'm wondering if it's because they made my thyroid work more like it's supposed to. How long is super long? Can I one up it? How long is your hair, Keel? I'm so curious now. I think I've caught up on chat. I think I've read all the way through. I'm here now. We're caught up. I still can't figure out my sound settings and it's getting me down. I'm so sorry, Taryn. Although I just had this conversation with Ghost, and he did say that, like, and Woof as well, because when you turn on OBS, and especially if you're using like Discord or voice mod or something, it seems like it never saves your settings. It seems like it's constantly resetting things, and I don't know how to fix that. But you're not alone. It's definitely a thing that a lot of streamers deal with. Have had long hair since 5th grade. Nice. It's rare to be above my shoulders. Nice. I used to prefer long hair too, but the older I get, the more I just find that I don't deal well with it in the summer. And I get to a point where I just want to be able to run a brush through it and toss it aside and not have to worry about it. Versus like when I do my hair like this, because I have to take my headphones off so you can kind of see better. Like, I've actually styled my hair today. So when I do this, it actually takes time because I have to like section out a portion of my hair and make sure that it looks the way I want it to look. And then I put on headphones and it probably doesn't even look as nice anyway. But when it's short enough that I can just throw a brush through it and put my headband on, and then it's like done. I can't grow my hair beyond my shoulders. Any particular reason why? I also don't wash my hair every day either. I wash my hair 3 times a week. If you have super curly hair, it's particularly important not to wash your hair every day because then it just turns to frizz. Thing I have learned. My hair is a little past my shoulders, cut last year. It was to my butt, but I wanted to change it up. Dang, I've never gotten it that long. I think I've gotten it like this-ish length, and then by then it's like unmanageable. I did my test. I recorded in OBS. Still sounds fine to me, but I thought to share the recording with my friends this time, and they all said I sounded super quiet. But all the settings look the same as they did when I thought this was resolved, so I have no idea. I mean, you can't necessarily account for the volume on their system, but I'm always surprised that I don't have more sound settings, but my setup is very, very simple because I'm literally just using the game and my microphone. And I try to always set my sound to the same level on my headset every time I stream. So theoretically, the sound is consistent, but if it's not, you guys have never told me, so I don't know. I think I have to be careful on how dark I go. I had a player eat a kid last time, but that's the challenges of eating with monsters. That is pretty dark. Did I miss something Kiel said? It's soft and it survives the abuse well enough. Also, heck oil. Heck oil? I'm assuming that's not supposed to be heck oil. I'm assuming that's supposed to be hair oil. But I like the idea of something called heck oil. Almost every hairstylist I've had said it's probably the driest scalp they've seen. My scalp gets pretty dry too, or at least it used to when I was younger. I have to use like moisturizing shampoo and moisturizing conditioner. But I also have a problem. Sorry, my brain 404'd. I also have a problem where I have to be really careful what kind of soap I use because I'm allergic to blue and green dyes. So I only have like very specific brands that I trust to never have dyes in them, which makes it more difficult for me to do all of my soap and like detergent and conditioner shopping is really stupidly complicated. My friends are also very techie, so I trust them. I am not super techie when it comes to like stream setup and like hardware setup and stuff. So I definitely wouldn't listen to me. Sounds like it should be real. I agree, but I meant oil builds up quick on my hair and scalp and I can't stand the texture or the way it acts. Ah, that's what you meant. That makes more sense. Yes, I wash my hair 3 times a week because of the same. It gets really oily and sort of like flat and drab if I don't. And also it dries out really quickly. You can tell the days, you can maybe you can't tell because I have it tied up right now, but you can tell the days that I wash my hair because it actually is like full body volume. And if I don't do moisturizing conditioner every other day, my hair gets really flat and it looks like it loses all its volume and it gets like oily and not nice. So I need to like pretty consistently keep it moisturized and stuff. But everybody's hair is different as well. Something that I didn't really learn until later in life. Like I have thin and curly hair, but I can get good volume out of it if I moisturize it and I take care of it. If you have straight hair, then your hair is going to have different needs than like curly hair. And some people have coarse hair. Some people have really, really thick hair. Also, like the quality of your water. Hey, the writer's troop is here. If you have hard water in your area, that can also make it more harder on your hair. Banana Bear Gamer's here as well. Hello, everybody. I'm over here just yammering about hair care. Writer's Troop, welcome in. How did your stream go? I hope you're doing well. Angel Faye's here. As well. Banana Bear, hope you're having a good day too. I'm used to having short hair because my hair is thick. Yeah, so some people have really thick hair. 4 years ago, I wanted to grow it out. I had my half of my head shaved when it was to my butt, and I wanted to grow out the shaved half. So to make it even, I had to cut it. I was very sad, so I grew it until the short part was to my chin, and then cut the long side. Now it's to my shoulders. Nice! Yeah, I don't have super thick hair, and never really have. Like, I grew up with friends who had really, really thick hair, and so taking care of it is different. And you kind of learn as you go that, like, what your friend's hair care routine isn't necessarily going to work for you unless you have the same kind of hair. So I tend to, Engel Bizot, is that how I say your name? If I said it wrong, please correct me. Hello! Welcome in. I thought you were Angel Faye for a second as well, because your colors were so similar to each other. So yeah, I have really curly hair. I tend to keep it mostly short so that it curls better, and I also try to keep it really well hydrated because my hair gets dry really quick. My bald ass is laughing at the lack of care. Hey, there are days where I just long to not have to do the hair thing. My hair is currently lopsided too. It used to be really thick when I was young. It's thinned out as I've gotten older. Yeah, I'm in that boat too, where I never had really super thick hair, but I do have thinner hair now than I used to. It went really well. We got lots done. Heck yeah. We have only gotten through our first sprint so far. I hit a rough patch because the opening of this scene was a little all over this place. So I've tightened it up. I have strategically removed and added so that it feels a bit smoother, but I had to go over the first couple paragraphs like a lot more than usual, so we're a little behind, but we'll hopefully catch up. Fiona Min, hello! My hair has straightened out as it's gotten long. My braid is to my natural waist. Nice! Nice! Yeah, my hair doesn't curl as much if I let it grow long too, because it just gets really heavy. So I try to cut it at the beginning of summer. I'll probably basically just cut it at the beginning of summer and then ride it out until next year. I should get it trimmed more often than that because I get split ends like wow. But I'm lazy. Mine's also curly and frizzy today. No, writer's troop. As it gets more humid outside and hotter, I go to frizz too. Some mornings after I wash my hair, like the next morning I wake up and my hair has just like poofed out. And I'm like, oh, it's summer. I'm going to pause the timer again because I'm going to take a quick pop AFK to use the restroom and refresh my coffee before we get into the second sprint. And also, I just want to make sure that I caught up with everybody who came in on the raid. It's wrong, but it's also French, so Angel will do. I figured that it was in another language and that I was not doing the letters right. Um, but thank you, Angel, I can remember. I'm also really horrible with names for anyone who's new. Hi, my name's Megan. I am a science fiction and fantasy writer. You can find out more over at megancutler.net or hit exclamation books to see my Amazon store. I apologize in advance. I'm really horrible with names. I don't have dyslexia, but for some weird reason, I do change letters around in names. It only happens in names. I don't know if it's because of the way usernames work on Twitch, where you have to have everything as one long string of letters, and I just break up the letters weirdly. But I do it with fantasy names too. I sometimes have to change the spelling of my own characters' names because I don't pronounce them right. So for whatever weird reason, I do say names wrong a lot. So if I say your name wrong, please correct me or tell me what you would like me to call you, so that I do it correctly. Because I want to address you in the way you want to be addressed. I have a black wife and a mixed race baby girl, so I'm no stranger to it. Now I don't have to care for mine. I care for theirs. Heck yeah. I live in GA. It's never not humid. Fair. Yeah, it gets less humid here in the winter. And then, actually, we also have a really dry heat, so it's never as humid as it was when I lived on the East Coast. But, man, when I lived on the East Coast... to make it easier on myself, I have an undercut. It's still pretty thick. I just have it in a ponytail more than a few hours gives me a headache, so I just have it down with clips in it to keep it out of my face. Yeah, usually when it starts giving me headaches to have it up, that's when I get it cut. That's when I chop it. Chippity chop. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick run AFK to refresh my coffee, use the restroom. If you need to, don't forget, get up, move around, switch where you're sitting, because you might have been leaning on something for a long period of time. Make sure you have something to drink. If you need to eat, make sure you grab something to eat. If you need to take your medication, make sure you take your medication. Don't forget to stretch. Take care of this meat sack that we're driving through the world. And also, Fiona Min, thank you for the follow. Super appreciate. I will be right back. I long for proper long hair, have a hard time with having it in my face all the time. The struggle is real. One of the reasons I started wearing headbands was to keep it out of my face. That's another reason why I often tie my hair back as well, is because it's easier to keep it out of my face. Thank you. Thank you for the welcome back. We're going to get into our second sprint here, because I'm a little behind, and I would like to catch up. So I'm going to get quiet. If I missed anything during the break, please feel free to repeat it. I do try to keep up, but sometimes the chat moves very quickly, and I miss a few things. We are deep in edits for my Aruvalia Chronicles, my high fantasy novel that takes place in a modern world. And I am hopefully going to be able to catch up a little bit. I've lost my button. Button, where is my button? I always forget that the button for Lo-Fi Sessions is not over here, even though I see it on my OBS. It's over here on my other monitor. Barefoot Turtle, hello, hello, and cheers, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Don't lose important buttons. I know, right? I need those. I used to always run my timer from OBS, so I still get mixed up sometimes, and I'm like, no, wait, the timer's over here now. Your advice of splitting up the scene was extremely helpful, and finally I feel like I'm getting out of the swamp. Heck yes! I'm so happy to hear that. I get stuck on stuff all the time, and a lot of the time I walk away and I think, what's hanging me up? Where is the problem? And it's often nowhere near where I actually thought it was in the first place. So it can be really easy to just get stuck in your own head or stuck in your own process sometimes. So I'm really, really glad to hear that breaking it up helped. Oops. Welcome back, Blur. I'm gonna do a cheeky pause again, since I'm a little behind. Let's see if we can catch up. All that hydrating and stretching deserves snacks. Snacks for everybody. Snacks for the chat. Snacks, my friends. The snacks are for you guys. I am caught up, so I shall purse here. Shall unlock the timer. Allow time to move forward. Cyberwolf, hello. That's okay. When one person redeems snacks, they're for everybody. We've got a hydrate from Cyberwolf. We got a stretch to wrap up the sprinty spront with. Heck yeah. Need to run. Thanks for being here. Hope the rest of your stream is great. A writer's troop, thank you for being here. It was so nice to see you. I'm glad to hear you got so much done, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and week. And I hope to see you again soon. We've got a save alert. Save your work, friends. I'm hitting my save button. You should hit your save button. I'm going to do one last stretchy stretch with my fingies. Got to keep them fingies limber for all that sprinty sprouting. Cyberwolf, how you doing, my friend? How's it going? I will posture check now, but I'll also posture check when I get back, because I'm going to get up and move around in a minute, and I will make sure I do a proper posture check when I get back. I've been doing pretty good. It's been crazy hectic here lately, hence me being an emergency cast member of an emergency guest star on Winds of Chaos last night. But it's just about to be March break. I'm taking next week off, and Ghost will have 2 weeks off to chill and unwind a bit. I'm looking forward to it, because it does feel like it's been pretty nonstop since Christmas. But I've been good. Overall good. More good days than bad, I would say. My projects are progressing. I constantly realize that I have more things that I want to do than I have time to do. Which is a little frustrating. If only I didn't need to sleep, I would get so much more work done. But here we are. Here we are. Here we go. How have you been, Cyberwolf? I don't usually see you at this time of day. Been enjoying the roleplay I've been doing in Whiskey Bend lately. Out of Blue, my female character actually got a boyfriend engaged in the amount of 3 days. Heck yeah! Wowee! That's cool. Is Whiskey Bend like a game? Or like a server or something? Sorry, I was trying to calculate time zones in my brain spaces, which doesn't always it doesn't always click depending on which direction I'm moving in. I am going to take a quick break. It is Red Dead Redemption roleplay. Heck yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm so glad that it's going well for you, Cyberwolf. I'm gonna take a quick break now. Just need to pop AFK, use the restroom, refresh my coffee one last time, because when I get back we will finish up the timer for a break and chitty chat for a bit, and then we will do one last 30-minute sprint to the end of this scene that I am working on and to the end of the stream, after which time I'm gonna go make a salad. Just a regular salad today, not a potato salad. So I will be back in 2 to 3 minutes. Don't forget to get up, stretch, move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink. Definitely hydrate. Definitely check if you've taken your meds. Shift the position you're sitting in, and I will be right back. back. I have returned. I think the reason Raven and Matthew clicked so well is because we have such similar upbringing and backstory. I think that's what drew us to each other. It's such a whirlwind romance. That's so awesome! These two are so in love, they hate being apart from each other. She's a senior deputy, and he's a blacksmith. He spends most of his time mining and crafting. I spend most of my time patrolling the country. Heck yeah! That's awesome! I used to do, back when I played Guild Wars 2, back in those old days, and back when they had separate servers, they've kind of changed the way the base game works now. But back when they had separate servers, we were part of a role-playing server, and it was really fun to just run around and sometimes just engage with people in role-playing events or out in the world. By the time I had stopped playing, and one of the reasons I stopped playing was that they had kind of phased that out. They had created mega servers so that it didn't matter as much which server you were on, but it also meant that the role-playing community couldn't really concentrate anymore. And so that was kind of a bummer. But it's so cool, and you can do that kind of stuff. Blur, thank you for the welcome. What are you working on today? How's it going? By the way, I think I remember you saying you were arting today. If you didn't say that and I am hallucinating it, never mind. But if you did say it, what you up to? Oh my goodness. Still working on the short. I'm always arting when I'm here unless I say so. Heck yeah. I also just assume that you're arting unless you say so. I have a question for you that has an extensive catalog. From someone doing the first draft of their first novel, does the fear of running out of ideas ever go away? Because I've been writing this novel for nearly a year, and I'm so scared of getting to the point of getting nothing out of the old noggin. For me, I think the fear of running out of ideas has gone away just because I have such a backlog that I know I'm going to be working my way through it for a long time. But in general, I do think that creative fears are a thing that you'll always have. I mean, hopefully eventually you get the confidence that you believe that you're going to have the ideas when you need them, or the confidence that you'll have the skill to write the thing when you get there. Hopefully that happens for everybody. But I think you're always afraid of something. So you might not always be afraid that you won't have enough ideas. You might get to a point where you find enough idea generation process, or you have enough ideas like jotted down that you don't fear that anymore. But then you'll probably be afraid of something else, if that makes sense. There's always creative anxiety. I think creative anxiety is always a thing that you will have. And the main reason I say that is that it's important to keep in mind that the creative process is fraught with uncertainty, and the most important thing is to just keep going. If you're afraid that you won't have enough ideas, or that you'll run out of ideas, or that you'll run out of steam, that's a very valid fear. The idea that, this was a very thin premise, and what am I trying to do, and how am I going to actually turn this into a full novel, or where do I go after this, or what if I never have another idea again? Those are things that you're gonna think about. But don't let them deter you. Don't let those fears deter you. Instead, you can counteract that kind of stuff by jotting down ideas in a notebook whenever you have them. I often jot down a note on my phone or my iPad, or I used to just carry a notebook with me everywhere and just jot things down. I mean, I've jotted down novel outlines on napkins because this is the only thing I had available at the time. So you can kind of train yourself to retain ideas by writing things down, even if it feels like a really silly idea, a really thin idea. Bard, how are you today, my dear? I hope you are feeling better. So you can sort of train yourself to keep ideas, even if they don't tie into anything right away, or even if they just feel like they're not a huge thing. You can just jot them down, and it trains your brain to retain them. If you find that you're working on something, welcome back, Honeyshuckle. If you find that you're working on something and you aren't sure what to do with it next, or there feels like there's holes in your ideas, you can look at your notebook and you can be like, oh, well, I had this idea and it didn't originally relate to this, but possibly I can use it for this. When I sat down to work on Ghost Path, I actually took a bunch of ideas from projects that have sort of become defunct, that I didn't think I would ever actually do anything else with, and they integrated really, really well into the concept of Ghost Path and filled it out really nicely. So you can kind of counteract the fears that you have in the creative sphere with other creative things, right? So yeah, I sometimes worry that like I don't have a strong enough idea, or that I've gone in the wrong direction, or that people won't find things as interesting as I do. But I try to counteract those things with more creativity and more creative process. I hope that makes sense as an answer to the question, and I hope that helps. If that wasn't quite what you were looking for, let me know. I definitely don't think you ever get to a point where you just feel confident about everything. I definitely think you always kind of create despite fear. But you can find confidence in different areas of creativity if you kind of chip away at it, if that makes sense. Feeling quite a bit better today. I'm so relieved to hear that, Bard. You have felt crappy for so long. You deserve to have a good day. I didn't. Pi, go ahead and do the new release command and get upset with me because I didn't fix it. Cheers. I'll do an extra free hydrate as penance. Penance to Pi. And it's not because I forgot. I do have it on a list of things to do. It's just that I've had so many things pop up this week that I just haven't had a free moment. I ended up being on Winds of Chaos last night because it was extra chaos, and Kali had to duck out at the last minute because he wasn't feeling well. So there's just been so much going on. But you have done your best to remind me, Pi, and it is 100,000% on me. A lot of the time when I tell people I don't know if something's good, they look at me confused and go, "How are you working this hard?" I mean, when I say I don't think I've done something good, or I don't think I'm skilled, I get like 10 people jump on me and are like, "What are you talking about? You're amazing. Look at this thing you did." So I try to tell myself that whenever I have doubts. I try to tell myself people have read your work and people have given you good reviews, and you know, people are interested in what you do, and it kind of helps me get over the bump a little bit. So I appreciate that. But we all have doubts. I never know if anything I create is ever decent. Bard, I've read several things that you've created. They are beyond decent. They're, in fact, amazing. And I hope that you will hear that in your head the next time you doubt yourself. Caught a bit of the D&D stream? Heck yeah, Pi. I have a serious question. How can you not be pulled into your character and lose perspective? Like, how do I not get caught up in, like, what my characters are thinking and feeling? I don't know if I can answer that, because I feel like I do get swept up sometimes in my characters' thoughts and feelings and what they would do in certain situations and how they would react. Sometimes it is very visceral, as if it is your own thing. I allow that to happen when I'm working because obviously I'm trying to embody those feelings onto the page. Outside of work, I daydream a lot, so sometimes I do just kind of sit there and stare into space and think about stuff. It's part of the writing process. But as for not getting too swept up in it outside of writing, I think just reminding myself that it's not real people and not real scenarios, that I need to maintain distance from that because it's not my real life. It's just, I'm just visiting that life. I'm just visiting that perspective. I'm just visiting that world. Those problems aren't my problems. And usually reminding myself that I have enough of my own problems without adopting the problems of fictional people helps. I don't feel like I'm good at anything, so I don't trust anybody who gives me positive feedback. You're good at many things, Bard. I know that can be hard to believe, but I'm going to keep telling you so that hopefully someday you internalize it and begin to believe in yourself. But I also don't always trust that I am good at, like, you guys are always here like, oh, Megan has it all figured out and she always has advice and she seems to have an endless well of ideas and thoughts and stuff. But I have doubts too. Like, I have days where I'm like, what am I doing? No one's ever going to read any of this. I'm just wasting my life. I've written 15 books and I don't even know if the first one's going to sell yet. So I think perspective, creative people always have doubts and we kind of work in spite of them and against them versus banishing them. It's 1000% a me problem, but I don't know what to do about it, so I just keep suffering. I think it will always be there. You just hopefully mitigate it, right? It's the same thing like I was saying about feeling creative anxiety. Like, it's never going to entirely go away. You just kind of learn how to keep it further away from you, if that makes sense. It's like the ball is going to keep flying at you. Eventually you learn to hit it far enough away that it takes longer to come back, if that makes sense. I actively adopt my character's mentality sometimes when I need to overcome challenges because they're stronger than I am. I've done that too, many times. This is gonna sound really silly, but I used to read a series about a place called Valdemar, and they have these people called heralds who are like the protectors of the realm. And on days when I really didn't want to go to work, when I was working at the help desk, I would be like, but you're a herald and you gotta go help people with their problems. And that would psych me up a bit and get me out the door. And I do the same thing with my characters. Sometimes I literally will be standing somewhere and just upset or annoyed with the situation, and I'll be like, what would Domerin do in this situation? And thinking about it calms me down. Even if I don't need to embody him at that moment, just thinking about it calms me down. And it has the added benefit of making that character feel more realistic to you, right? So it's not always a bad thing. Acting upon your character's thoughts and feelings in the real world, you probably don't want to do because it's going to be weird. But embodying their thoughts and feelings can sometimes be helpful to you in certain situations. I felt like I was getting too drawn into the RP love affair Raven is in. Fair. Yeah, and keeping perspective is important. Stacy's my I need to face my phobias character because she will make sacrifices for the greater good all the time. Heck yeah! Yeah, I definitely do stuff like that too. When I've started working on longer stuff and started to get into it, my brain goes, is this even interesting? Yeah, I have that too. This probably isn't even a story worth telling. I'm probably wasting my time on something nobody is ever going to read or enjoy. Thanks, brain. I almost forgot to doubt every second of my existence. I do that too. I do that on book 1. I do that on book 2. I do it on book 5. I do it on book 15. I'm finishing up this series, this 15-book series. I've sold 1 copy of book 4. I have no idea if I'm ever going to be able to make this successful, or if more than a handful of people are ever even going to see the words that I'm writing right now. And the way I handle that is just, fuck it. I want to tell this story. I want this story to exist in the world, and I like it, and I enjoy it. So even if nobody else ever reads it, and if nobody else ever cares, I cared. This book has one fan, and it's me. And every time someone picks up the Aruvalia Chronicles and messages me and is like, I appreciate Damarin, or I appreciate this part of your story, or I really enjoyed this. First of all, a little tear slides down my cheek because somebody actually read something I wrote. And second of all, it heartens me because it makes me think, yeah, someday someone is going to read this. And maybe it's only going to be 6 people, but those 6 people are going to appreciate it so much. And that's why I'm here today, doing what I'm doing right now. Waiting for the book that's 4 to 6. Fair. That will happen. That will come out in December. That's fair. That's the other thing that was in the back of my head was like some people read them in bulk. So, you know, book 4 has only been out for a hot minute. I admire your ability to have those doubts and create anyway. I'm not strong enough. Someday you will be, Bard. Someday you will hit critical not give a fuck. And you will just stop caring about what other people think enough that you care about what you think. Because it's not that I don't care about what other people think. I absolutely do. It's just that I found this lever at some point in my brain, this switch flipped, and I cared more about what I wanted than what other people might want. I cared more about what the story means to me than I cared about what it meant to other people. And I think that was kind of where that was kind of what did it for me, was that I was like, I want this story. I want it for me. There's a part of me that obviously cares and wants other people to read my stuff. But there's also a part of me that genuinely doesn't give a fuck if other people hate everything I do. I'm gonna do it anyway. I want it for me. And so when I found that voice, that was the one that got me through. Somewhere in your brain is that voice. And someday that voice will be loud enough to drown out the other voices. It's called being in your 30s. It did happen in my 30s. Not gonna lie. I don't know that I'll ever get there. I don't know how to not give a fuck. And again, it's not that I don't give any fucks. There are fucks in there. I do care about what other people think. It's just that there's a part of me that doesn't care loud enough to tell the other voices to fuck off, if that makes sense. You're gonna get there, Bard. I have faith in you. Have a good evening, everyone. Sleep well in Romanian for y'all to learn something new today. I'm not gonna murder those words, those beautiful words that you just shared with us, Banana Bear Gamer, but thank you so much. And I hope I was able to help in even some small way today. Not quite 30 here, and I don't know what the deal is about 30. I had my crisis at 25. You're just ahead of the curve, Honeyshuckle. I'm gonna release time and get into our final focus. Oh, I haven't even looked at my co-star yet today. I will look at it after stream. Again, I can't stress enough that I don't think there's a perfect state of mind where you rise above all of your fears and anxieties. I feel like the sea is always there. It's just about finding the boat that will carry you through that particular storm. And I do believe that there is a voice in the back of my head that says, write this story for you because you want it to exist. And if other people like it, cool, that's great. And I feel like that voice just got loud enough that when I start to worry about everything that everybody else thinks and whether or not something is good, that voice is like, but you think it's good. But you love it. And if you love it, someone else could love it. I still care too much about many things, but I'm learning how to pick and choose which things get that much care. Yeah, and some days are easier than others. Some days I create with a radical, reckless abandon, and that is untouchable. And some days, every word I write, I'm like, that was dumb. Why did I write that sentence? So hopefully eventually you have more good days than bad days, but the bad days will always be there and the doubts will always be there. You just got to find the thing that'll pull you through it. The secret is everyone is a niche market. True. That is very true. It's about romance today. They must have sensed that I re-downloaded Hinge last night in a moment of quiet desperation. Oh no, Bard! I'll check mine after stream and let you know what it says. I am gonna release time. I'm gonna do the final sprinty spront. So I gotta eat at some point. I was too hot with my blanket and I'm too cold without it. It's the springtime curse. Need to get back to work if I don't see you again before stream is over. I love you. Bard, I love you too. Continue to take care of yourself. Continue to feel better. I will share my co-star with you after stream. What's CoStar? CoStar is an app. It's an astrology app. It calculates your birth chart based on your date and time of birth and place, and then it gives you a highly accurate I don't know, prediction of your life based on NASA data. Sorry I didn't see that sooner, Honeysuckle. That's what CoStar is. If you download it, let me know so I can add you to my list of friends. Some of the stuff it says is hilarious. It's one day it told Carly that I was on my way to her house with wire cutters. And another day it said that the best way to apologize to me is to rip out your entrails and put them in a delicate porcelain vessel and then mail them to me. Don't do that, by the way. So if you want to laugh, if you don't take astrology stuff too seriously and you want to laugh, download CoStar, see what it says. If you have friends, it will give you funny messages about your friends. It told Woof to make me a playlist and play it on a boombox outside my window. It's honestly hilarious. Oops. I don't think I'll be getting it. I try to keep Gen AI off my phone, especially. They definitely use AI for it. They say that they only use it for, like, the NASA data, but they definitely use it to write whatever weird-ass messages it gives you. I have, like, no other apps on my phone, so I'm not worried too much about it getting at, like, my data and stuff. But I totally respect not wanting to have generative AI on your phone. Scene completed. I was so in the zone, I didn't notice the timer ended, and I just blew right past it. Heck yeah. Had some rocky edits to do today, but I'm pretty satisfied that I got these scenes where they needed to be. And we had some serious shop talk today, which is always nice. Let's see who is around for a raid. Ooh, Flower Girl is on. Let's head over and say hey. She'd be cross-stitching some more today. Heck yeah. I'm jealous of her setup because you can actually see her stitching during the process, unlike when I stream my cross-stitching. Heck yeah. Let's head over there and say hello. Just a quick reminder, thanks for hanging out, Honeysuckle. Almost completely done with the line art. I'll definitely finish it tonight. Hell yeah, Blur. Enjoy. Just a reminder as we head over to Flower Girl's space, she is not fond of the swearing. I know I swear all of the fucking time, but she prefers if you don't, so just keep that in mind while you're in her space. Let's get raid calls going. I will be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. PST, as usual, with more of this. We're going to be actually writing the final chapter of the prompt novel, a year plus coming. So we'll be doing that tomorrow on stream, and of course talking about the usual chaos and whatnot. So that will be it for me this week. After that, next week I will not be doing writing streams because I am taking the week off of writing, but we will have at least one craft stream and hopefully, if I can source the wine, one bonus wine and wind down stream that you guys voted on after the November bonus streams were unlocked. So look forward to that. I will also be over on It's Wolf's channel on Saturday night as usual with Cozy Chaos. Usually involves crafting and some gaming and whatever crazy stuff we talk about at the time. So that is where you can find me. I evidently will also be on Winds of Chaos again next Tuesday. So to wrap up what I started last night. So that's where you can find me. Keep an eye on the About section. I keep my schedule there. Also on the Discord. Please take care of yourselves. Remember to eat, to sleep, to drink, to get up and move around from time to time, to take your medication if you need to. These meat sacks don't come with a maintenance manual, but they sure do need a lot of tendon. Take care of yourselves. You're all amazing. I appreciate the hell out of you hanging out with me, and I will see you again very soon.
Really happened, or like it was productive, but in a very different way.